Lifestyles is sponsored by Gary Price, elder law attorney.
Gary's with us today, and we're talking about Medicaid planning, and it can be, as nobody knows better than you, overwhelming for people. So let's start early. Is that what you're saying? Let's get cracking early. So
we always talk about, okay, so why do we plan? We always plan in order to shelter assets, shelter as much as we can, protect as much as we can of the family estate, and still qualify for Medicaid. Well, Medicaid has rules relating to what you can do and can't do, and attorney would have strategies in order to take advantage of those rules, and that's basically what we're talking about, utilizing those strategies to shelter assets. Well, some of the strategies have some time issues, the 5-year look-back period. Some strategies that we utilize when we can involves transactions that Medicaid says is okay as long as 5 years have lapsed since you did that transaction.
And what would be an example
of a transaction? If we move something into an asset into a trust, an irrevocable Medicaid compliant trust. If we make that transfer into a trust, then I always say to the client, if we're doing this, then you need to not apply for Medicaid for at least 5 years. If you do, then we probably have to undo some things.
And you can undo?
And we can undo.
All right, that's good to know.
Another example would be gifting it to someone, gifting it to my kids. Okay, if you gift to the kids, you better not apply for Medicaid for 5 years. Now, depending on what the kids do with the gift, you may or may not be able to undo that one. You know, if they spend it, then you can't undo it, right? Well, with the trust, we got control of it. You still have control to a certain extent, so you can undo it. And then it's kind of like no harm, no foul.
But see, these are things that people don't necessarily know. And I think when we use the word estate, there is sort of this myth around that we mean you got lots and lots and lots and lots of money and lots of property and, you know, you're sort of the jet set, but that's not what you're talking about.
Well, the strategy works for that, but then it works for, you know, someone that has a few $1,000s or what you just described, and for everyone in between. You know, we develop the strategy based upon your resources, based upon how you have it invested, all those variables.
So for folks who are watching and thinking, all right, now I probably need to do this, when should we really start Medicaid planning?
Well,
5 years ago?
5 years ago. If you knew when you were going to need it, or if you were going to need it, you know the answer. That's always the problem. I read one article one time, and they said once you had your 50th birthday, you need to start thinking about it. I don't know where that came from, but if you want a date, there you go.
There you go. Start at your 50th. But most people aren't going to think of that, though.
No, they don't. They don't. They usually start thinking about it when their parent, for example, needs assistance, or they're a good friend or a good friend's parent, something like that, something close to them. Usually that gets them thinking about it. They might start thinking about estate planning, getting their will done, getting the advance directives. Don't forget the most important, you're never too young to get that advance directive, which is the power of attorney instrument. You need to have it. And then while they're doing that, then they might say, oh, by the way, let's talk about, does any of this help if I had to go apply for Medicaid? And then we have the conversation then. But, you know, a lot of people come to me, and they come to me early, and we end up not doing anything for them. Not because, well, say it a different way. We don't do anything because they know their options, and they make an informed decision that for them, I don't want to do the trust, or I don't want to do this particular strategy. Well, that's good, but that's fine. And they know what the alternative is, so they made an informed decision. So that's good too. Right.
I mean, as long as you know. So Gary, how can we get, here's a copy of the book, of course, in the monitor. How can we get a copy of your free book?
Give me a phone call. My number 812-475-8444. We'll send you the free book.
Those questions and more answered right there. As always, good to see you.
Thanks.
We'll be back with more Local Lifestyles right after this. Stay with us.
This portion of Lifestyles is sponsored by Gary Price, elder law attorney.